Good afternoon to all. In the last lectures, I discussed the USI models in UART mode. Now today, I am going to discuss the USCI model in SPI mode. It means Serial Peripheral Interface mode. Now you can see the properties of USCI model in SPI mode. Now the first thing is it has flexible interface. So it has flexible interface. It means that 3 or 4 pin SPI. It means that it is used as it is called 3 wire or 4 wire. Either 3 wire or 4 wire, that is called 3 pins or 4 pins SPI. Now it can transfer the data 7 bit or 8 bit as a data length. It work as a master or slave, LSB or MSB first. If you want to transfer the LSB first, you can do that. If you want to transfer the MSB first, you can do that. Now come to the software configurable clock phase and polarity. With the help of software, you can configure the clocks. Programmable SPI master clock, double buffered TX and RX. Transmitter and receiver is having double buffered. Now it is interrupt driven. TX and RX. There are two types of interrupts are there. One is for transmission and another for the receiver. So there are now two types of interrupts which is used in SPI mode. One is used for transmitter and another is used for the receivers. It is also having direct memory access enabled, LPMX operation. It also has low power mode operations. So now come to the block diagram of this USCI models, the SPI mode block diagrams. Now you can see that rest all these 5 blocks are same as you can see that USCI operations in UART mode. Receiver buffer, receiver shift buffer, shift registers, transmitter shift registers, transmitter buffer. So now one is called BR clock. So BR clock, it means it indicates that baud rate clock. Baud rate clock you are always using 9600. So we are using 9600 BR clock. So baud rate clock. So this clock will be called as baud rate clock. So now this is master bit clock generator. It will generate the clocks. Now you can see that there is a SOMI and this is SIMO, SIMO and SOMI. It means that SOMI means slave out, master in. SIMO, slave in, master out. So there are two modes. In these two modes, it will work. You can see in the next diagram, you can get the clear things of the how it is connected with the target device. So this is the USCI model SPI. Now you have a remember. You can see that USCI is divided into two parts: USCI AX, USCI XA underscore A, and USCI X underscore B. And SPI is present in both the blocks. You can remember that SPI serial peripheral interface is available in both blocks. So if it is available in both blocks, you can use any one of the blocks. So now you can see that here UCX clock is collected directly go to the clock for the target device. UCX SOMI and USCX SIMO. It is used for slave out and master in. Master is in slave out purpose. One is D out and other is D in. One is out for the target device, output, and other is input of the target device. Now one is called UCXSTE. It means that it enables the slave transmitter. STE means slave transmitter enable. So when it will be enabled, then you can able to transfer the data. Now this configuration is used in two modes. One is called 3-wire mode, another is called 4-wire mode. In these 3-wire mode, only 3 data lines are used. If you are using in 4 lines, then these also you can use. You can also select the UCXSTE slave transmit enable so that it can transmit the data from one device to another device with serial peripheral interface. So now come to the next point. Serial data transmitted and received by multiple devices using a shared clock provided by the master. So now there are 3 or 4 signals are used for SPI data exchange. You can see in the 3 lines and 4 lines. These 4 lines will be used for the exchanging the data or sending the data. The first is called UCX SIMO. It means that it is slave in master out. SIMO means slave in master out. UCX SOMI slave out master in. UCX clock UCI SPI clock. UCX STE slave transmit enable. So with the help of these 4 signals, you can transfer the data. It enables a device to receive and transmit data and is controlled by the masters. So master is controlling that when it will be transmit the data or when it will receive the data. Now 4-wire master senses conflicts with other masters. In 4-wire slave externally controls TX and RX. In 4-wire masters and 4-wire slaves, in 4-wire slaves, it is externally controls transmitter and receiver. Comes to the UCSI installations or reconfiguration process. How can you configure the USCI model in SPI mode? Now come to the point. First point is set UCSWRST. You have remembered, I think so. You have read yesterday control registers of USCI models. So with the help of control registers, you can configure the USCI in SPI mode. So control registers is very important. So now the first case is set UCSWRST. So set UCSWRST, it means that how can you set this value? With the help of instructions bit wish.b. It means bit set.b. Second one is initialize all USCI registers with UCSWRST equal to 1, including the UCXCS CTL1. So the third step is you have to configure the ports. There are 3 wires or 4 wires. In that you can configure either in 3 wire or in 4 wire. So next is clear UCSWRST via software. How can you clear this bit? You can clear this bit by bic.b. You have to write in the programs. So this bit UCS WRST bit is yesterday I already told that in control registers who are not present yesterday, you can go and refer to that video lectures and then you can understand. The next is enable interrupts via UCX RXIE and UCX TXIE. This supports in SPI mode supports two types of interrupts, two vector interrupts. One is transmission and another is for receivers. So next is you have to define the character format as presented earlier. Character format I already discussed in UART mode. That will be same as it is. Next is define mode, master or slave. You have to define it. It will work as a master mode or it work as a slave mode. Enable SPI transmit or receive clearing the UCSWR state. First you clear the bit, then you set the bit, then you again clear this bit with the help of bit PIC dot B. It means that it is bit clear. So by this way you can reset or you can enable the UCSWR bit. Now you have to define the clocks. Define serial clock control. So how can you define the control clock? UCX clock is provided by the master or the SPI bus. In the previous slides, you can see that this is UCX clock is there. This clock is provided to the target device. So this clock is generated by the UCSCI. So next is configure serial clock polarity and phase, UCC KPL and UCC KPH bits. If there are two bits are there which is used for polarity and other bit is used for phase, UCC KPL bit is used for the polarity and UCC KPH bits is used for phase. Polarity means positive or negative. Okay. So now comes to the USCI interrupts. USCI interrupts, I already told you there are two types of interrupt vector used in this. One interrupt vector for transmissions and one interrupt vectors for receptions. So first you can see that SPI transmit interrupt operation. How the transmitter can interrupt the operation and how receiver can interrupt the operations with the help of interrupt. It means that transmitter कब interrupt operate करेगा और receiver कब operate करेगा. That having certain rules. So first you can see that in SPI transmit interrupt operations. In that operation, UCX TX IFG, UCX transmitter interrupt flag. So this interrupt flag is set by the transmitter to indicate that UCX TX buffer is ready to accept the another character. So for transmitting the data, you need the data first. So that data will be stored in UCX TX buffer. So first you have to store the data in UCX TX buffer, then you can transmit the data. So the next is an interrupt request is generated of UCX TX IE and GIE are also set. If these two bits are set, then the UCX TX buffer will store the data. Now the UCX TX IFG is automatically reset if the interrupt request is serviced or if a character is written to UCX TY. If the data will store in UCX TX buffer registers, then this flag is automatically reset. Or there are two options, either interrupt request is serviced. Whatever interrupts is coming, that request will serve, then you can say that the UCX TX IFG flag is reset. Now come to the for interrupt UCIS receive interrupt operations. Same way for transmitting flag and same way for receiving flags. Now you can see that UCX RX IFG. This flag is used for receiver. When in the place of R you can put T, then you can say this flag is used for the transmitter. So UCX RX IFG interrupt flag is set each time a character is received and loaded into the UCX RX buffer. Just reverse of the transmitter process. So if you will remember the transmitter process, you can easily remember for the receiver process. So when interrupt flag is set, each time a character is received and loaded in the UX buffer. An interrupt request is also generated if UCX, RXI and GI are set. These lines are common in both the cases. So UCX, RX, IFG and UCX, RIXE are reset by system reset UC signal or when SW RST equal to 1. You can reset UCX, RX, IFG or UCX, RXI by resetting the systems or putting that SW RST equal to 1. So now UCX, RIFG is automatically reset if the pending interrupt is serviced when UCS WRST equal to 1 or when UCX R buffer is read. There are two options to reset the UCX RX IFG flag. The reason is the first one, either you can service the pending interrupts or UCX RX buffer is read. It means that you can read the UCX RX buffer. It means that the data will be read by the receiver, or you can execute the pending interrupts. Then this flag is automatically reset. So by this way the receiver will understand that the data will be received. So now you can see that how the interrupt will assess. Now first you come to the for the interrupt purpose. Transmitter end. So first is transmitter end TX ISR. This is the transmitter service interrupt service routine. When transmitter interrupt service routine is executed, it will generate the TX IFG flag. When TX IFG flag, it means the transmitter interrupt flag is generated. If it is generated, yes, then UCSIA TX ISR write TX buffer. When TX IFL is generated, then it will write the transmitted data in TX buffer and then return. Otherwise, if TX IF is not generated, then it will check the I2C RX IFG. It means that you can see in SPI, in the USCI model, SPI is available for USCI A also and USCI B also. So you have to take care of these two. So now when TX IFG is not generated, it means that it will go to the I2C RX IFG. If it will RX IFG generated, then it is yes, then it means that USCI B block in TX buffer you can write the transmitted data and then return. If it is also not generated, then return. There is no data transmitted. You can say that. If these signals TX IFG and RX IFG is not generated, it means that there is no data is having to transmit. Now same in for the come to the SPI RX interrupts. So SPI RX interrupts, what it is? It is used for the receiver end. Now you can see that this is a RX ISR RX interrupt service routine is executed. When RX interrupt service routine is executed, RX IAFG flag is generated. If it is generated, then USCIA RX ISR and read RX buffer return. If it is not generated, you can check that USCI B RX IFG. You can see USCI B RX IFG. In RxIFG it is generated, yes, then you have to read Rx buffer. Again USCIB Rx buffer you have to read, then return. If it is also not generated, it means that you can return like that. So in this way you can see here, in transmitter end, this is I2C there. In place of I2C you can write USCIB module. USCIB module. Okay, one block is used for USCIA and another block is used for USCIB. For both the cases, transmitter point as well as receivers. So what is the benefit of that? See blindly what is the meaning. You can go to the main block diagram of the, see here, in the USCIA SPI mode is also there. In USCIB SPI mode is also there. So when I am using the SPI mode, it means that either you can use USCI A block or USCI B block. In both the blocks, you can use anyone to configure the USCI model in SPI mode. Otherwise, you can use both of the blocks and you can convert this USCI model in SPI mode. So that's why there are two blocks. First it will check the first one. I come to this point. So come to this point. See that for transmitter in there are USCI. Okay, so USCI A block are for, another one is used for USCI B block. So first it will check the USCI A block. Then if it is not there, then it will check the USCI B block. Same from the receiver end, UCIA RFG. First it will check that A block receiver part and then it will check that B block receiver part. In this way the interrupt service routine will work in SPI mode. So that is the SPI mode operations. In this way you can configure the SCI module, USCI module in SPI mode. So the next is how can you operate in I2C mode. I will see in the next lecture.